Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's K-E-S-H-W-A-N-I, Keshwani. We are here because we want to prepare for GRE. We have been solving GRE math problems out of this book here, the official guide to the revised GRE, the second edition. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. You're going to need it. The problem that we are about to solve is the one that you will find on page number 232. Please turn to it, page number 232, and today is our lesson number 326. This problem that you see there that appeared on page number, that we are about to do on page number 232, is the exact same problem that appeared in the first edition of the revised GRE. We have already solved every single problem from this book. If you're interested in watching the original solution at a much slower pace, you can find the original solution on day number 113. Today, we're not going to go into too much detail. I'm just going to do it very quickly. As a matter of fact, the problem that we see in front of us, problem number 7 that is, in front of you on page number 232, is only one problem, which is this problem right here, the very first one. We are in fact going to do 4 problems just to get some extra practice, and here are the 4 problems. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to do all 4 of them. So here's how the problem reads. The question is, what is the amount of simple interest earned on the investment of $1,000 that is invested for 6 months at 6%? So let's do it, shall we? So we have $10,000 invested, $10,000 invested for 6 months at 6%. Now the very first thing we need to understand when we're talking about interest rate, I just said a little while ago that I wasn't going to go into too much detail, and here I go again. The very first thing we need to understand is that whenever the interest rates are stated in the problem, they are always stated on an annual basis, on a per annum basis. So when you said at 6%, this is 6% per year. So here we are earning 6% per year. But we are not investing we're not making an investment here for a year. In the first problem, we are only investing for 6 months. So if it's 6%, for a year, that implies that we'll have 3% return for 6 months. That's what it means, because the bank is going to pay 6% if you keep the money in the account for a whole year. But if you're going to keep the money in the account for half a year, for 6 months, then instead of 6%, you get 3%. Now the question simply is, what is 3% of our investment, which is $10,000? That's all. Well, that's very straightforward, very simple. We know 1% of 10,000. 1% of 10,000 is simply, you take your 10,000 and you divide it by 100, that's going to give you 1%. In other words, we knock out the 2 zeros. So 1% of 10,000 is $100. We just knock out the 2 zeros. We have 10,000 here. We knock out the 2 zeros and we'll have 1%, which is $100. That's 1%. We want 3%, which is very straightforward. 3% is going to be 3 times the amount. That's all. So the answer to the question is, we're going to earn a return of $300 on our investment of $10,000, which we kept in the bank for a period of 6 months, and the bank agreed to give us 6% return annually. Even though it doesn't say annually, that's what it means. Let's do the next one, shall we? In the next problem, again, same exact problem, the question is, what is the amount of simple interest earned on the investment of $7,500 if you were to keep the money in the bank for 2 years at 5%. So let's do that, shall we? So in number 2, the return is 5% per year. That's what it means, 5% per year. But we're keeping the money in the account for 2 years. So if it's 5% in 1 year, that implies the return is going to be 10% for 2 years. 5% each year. So for 2 years, we'll have 10%. Now the question simply is, what is 10%? What is 10% of 7,500? That's very straightforward, very simple. we just take the tenth of that amount. In other words, knock out one of the zeros. 10% of 7,500 is $750. Our return on the second investment is going to be $750 if we keep the money in the account for 2 years and the bank agrees to pay us, if bank promises to pay us 5% return, 5% interest per year. And if you keep it in there, $7,500, at the end of 2 years, we'll have our original $7,500 plus 10% of 7,500, $750 return. Let's do number 3, shall we? Number 3. In number 3, again, what's the amount of simple interest earned on the investment of 3,600 if we keep it in there for 4 months at 3%? This is a little tricky, so pay attention. So here we are getting 3% return, 3% per 1 year. That's what 3% means. 3% means it's 3% per year. But we are not keeping the money in the account for the entire year. We are only keeping the money in the account for 4 months. Well, we know 4 months we know is a third of a year. Because there are 12 months in a year, so 4 months actually represents a third of a year. They're paying us 3% per year, so therefore, for the third of the year, they're going to pay 1/3 of the amount. So instead of 3%, it is going to be, this implies that we're going to get 1% per 1/3 of the year, or 4 months. Our return is going to be 1% for a period of 4 months, not 3%. 3% is for the whole year. We're keeping the money in the account for only a third of the year. A third of 3% is 1%. The rest is very simple. Now we have to figure out 1% of 3,600. 1% of 3,600 is very simple. We take out 3,600 and divide it by 100 to get 1%. So knock out 2 zeros. So the return is going to be $36 even. Return is going to be $36 even. This is the very last one. In the last problem, we are investing an amount of $2,000. What's the amount of simple interest earned on the investment of $2,000 if you're going to keep the money in the account, if you're going to invest it for 3 years at 4%. So let's do that here. So in number 4, we are earning 4% in 1 year. We're keeping the money in the account for 3 years. So if it's 4% in 1 year, that implies that we will earn 12% in 3 years. 4 times 3, obviously. 4% first year, 4% next year, second year, and 4% for the third year. A grand total of 12% is what we're going to have, 12% return on our investment. So now the question simply is, what is 12%? What is 12% of $2,000? Well, that's very straightforward actually. That's very simple. We know 10% of $2,000. If you have to figure out 10% of $2,000, we just knock out one of the zeros, and 10% is going to be 200. We also know that 1% of $2,000, if you have to calculate 1% of $2,000, we take out $2,000 and knock out 2 zeros. That's the 1%, because 1% means you divide it by 100. So 1% is 20. Another 1% of $2,000 is going to be another 20. So this represents 12%. So our return on the investment is going to be $240. Now tomorrow we'll start the concept of compound interest. We'll first do a very simple problem dealing with the concept of compound interest, a problem that is not in the book, a bonus problem, a simple problem that we said, and then we'll do the 2 problems that are in the book. Okay? I'll see you tomorrow. Bye now.